Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sheffield Hallam University Sports Ground for this evening's Kingston Press Championship match between Sheffield Eagles and the Featherstone Rovers. Quick rundown of the team news for you, starting with the Eagles. At fullback is number 1, Quinton Laulau Togagai. In the three quarters, number 19 is Gary Lowe. Number 3 is Menzies. On debut for the Eagles this evening, number 25, who's played for Rovers twice in his career, it's Nathan Chappell. And number 5, another former Rover, is Ben Blackmore. In the half-backs for the Eagles, number 6 is Corey Aston, number 14 is Matty Fozzard. In the front row for the Eagles, number 8 is Steve Thorpe, and number 15 is Scott Wielden, and the hooker number 9 is Keil Carlisle. In the second row, number 13 is Matt James, another former Rover, and he's joined by another former Rover, number 12, Dwayne Straffer. And the loose forward, number 11, Michael Knowles. On the bench for the Eagles this evening, number 18 is Elliot Minchella, number 2 is Rob Warranty, number 4 is George Tyson, and number 17 is Mark Mexico. Changes galore for Rovers, some enforced, some tactical by John Sharp. At full-back, in for the injured Danny Craven, moving back from centre, is number 3, Michael Channing. In the three quarters, number 3 is James Duckworth. Number 18 is Jamie Cording. Returning after suspension in place of Michael Channing, who moves to full-back, is a former Eagle in Missy Talapapa. And the other three quarters, number 27, Jamie Foster. In the half-backs, number 35 is Jordan Lilly, again on dual registration, from the Rhinos. And coming in for Kyle Briggs, who drops to the bench, is Anthony Thackeray, wearing number 7. In the front row for Rovers, number 32, Jordan Baldwinson, number 8, Darryl Griffin, and in between those two is number 9, Andy Ellis. In the second row for Rovers, number 13 is Tim Spears, and he will be alongside an Eagle who's returning after missing out last week. The first match he's missed this season, but back today comes John Davies, and the loose forward is number 21, Bradley Tagg. On the bench for Rovers this evening, number 6, Kyle Briggs, drops down to the bench. He'll be alongside number 16, Colton Roach, number 17, Jack Ormondroyd, and number 10, Andy Bostock. And today's match referee is Mr. Andy Sweet. First chance, say good evening, Joanne.
Evening, Ben.
And the thoughts on the team news, first of all.
Well, I think it'll be a relief for everybody to see Anthony Thackeray back in the team, and we've got Jordan Lilly in playing standoff tonight. The obvious omission there is Ian Hardman, presumably through injury, but Mike Channing that goes to that full-back role that he stepped into last week when Danny Craven retired from the field with an injury. Missy Talapapa, good to have him back as well after 3 games out through suspension. When we spoke to him on Rovers TV, he was really up for this one, and especially with it being against a club that he'd played so many games for previously as well. So yeah, and the only other ever present we've got is Jack Ormondroyd, of course. He's been ever present in every game this season for Featherstone Rovers. Welcome John Davies back too. And the other thing to mention is Jordan Baldwinson on his 50th game for Featherstone Rovers today, which isn't bad for a player who's not actually ever signed for us.
Not bad at all. Second summary this afternoon. Good afternoon, Joseph.
Good afternoon, Ben.
And your thoughts on the team as well?
Well, like John said, Anthony Thackeray coming back is absolutely huge for the side. You saw early in the season when he was injured how much we missed him, and that became clear again recently. He's just so influential in the way he guides the side about the park. You can't see we could do without him. He'll be very important in today's game, particularly if we get another spell of rain. We know how dangerous his kicking game can be. Other than that, there's quite a bit of cross-pollination of players between the two sides, so it's going to be those former Eagles men who will be looking to turn up today and put out a big performance.
And just looking down that Eagles side, where do you see the main threats coming in that Eagles side this evening?
Well, Sheffield have had a poor season, if we're honest, Ben. You're looking at the main men, and they're very much the same characters that we've been seeing perform against the Rovers for years. So the likes of QLT, Menzies and Michael Knowles, who never fails to be dangerous, are going to be the danger men once again. The benefit of that is we're used to that, we know how to handle them. Doing it is a different matter.
A massive blow for the Eagles this week in losing Mitch Stringer. Just how do you think that'll affect the Eagles as well, Joanne?
Oh, it's going to be massive for them, isn't it? Because Mitch, the Sheffield captain, or was the Sheffield captain, is a huge forward. He's a forward that punches holes in other teams' defences. So it'll be a massive miss, won't it, for the Eagles? They've acted quickly though, and they've got 2 French players coming tomorrow on loan till the end of the season. And they've also got the former Featherstone Rover Nathan Chappell, who seems to sort of always pop up against us in a team somewhere, doesn't he, Nathan?
He does indeed. Just looking at the head-to-head, this is the 48th game between the Rovers and the Eagles. Featherstone have won 22, Sheffield have won 21, and there's been 4 draws. So it's a very tight head-to-head overall between those 2 teams, isn't it?
Definitely, even when Sheffield weren't necessarily a top side, which you could argue they're not again this year, they always seem to be a bogey side for the Rovers. And in some of those wins, they were back in the time of the bonus point. Sheffield would be forever scrambling them against us.
A lot of history between these 2 teams, of course, over the recent years. Grand finals galore and other games as well. So it's with a mixture of the grand finals and the former players. It's certainly going to make a tasty affair, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's, you know, there's a lot of history between these. The first away win that Featherstone Rovers got against Sheffield, just going back into the history books, thank you to Mark Kirby or Mark Las Palmas for providing us with all these stats. We'll give him a shout out in Spain there, in the EU. But the last win was, the first win, should I say, for Featherstone Rovers was at the Owlerton Stadium when they played there in 1987. And it ended, it was the first away game we played against Sheffield. We didn't win it, it was a draw, it was a 10-all draw. And Sheffield should have actually won that one, but the loose forward that missed the drop goal that day was a certain Mr. Darryl Powell.
It's an interesting one, and just looking, Rovers' record win against the Eagles was in 2010, a victory by 40 points to 16. That's the record away win against the Eagles. So plenty to play for both of these teams out here. Rovers, if with a win today, can move into the top 4 ahead of the weekend's games. And just looking at the other games this weekend, there's some real crunch games in the terms of that top 4, isn't there?
Definitely some of the big sides coming up against each other, so there's points to be gained this week. And by Featherstone having this early game on the weekend, I think it could be crucial because it applies so much pressure to those teams going out on the park. Will they be able to perform to their full ability, knowing that they have to keep the fight on?
The top 4 all playing each other, Joanne. Lee against London, but the key game in terms of Rovers this weekend, Bradford against Halifax. This is a crucial game for Rovers, isn't it? If Rovers want to make that top 4, they have to win tonight.
I think if Rovers want to win the top 4, realistically we have to win every game remaining. You know, it's got to that sort of stage now where we need to. And when you talk to John Sharp, he says that all that Featherstone are doing is concentrating from game to game. You know, so it's important that they just focus on each game as they go. Perhaps not look at what else is around them, and it's in our hands really. You know, because the others have to play each other in that top 4. If we win every game, a bit of a big ask, but not impossible, then it's in our hands, I believe.
Some tough games ahead of us in that running though, Joe, isn't there? Trips to Batley and Halifax still to come. And then what could be a top 4 decider against the Bulls at home on the final day of the season.
Definitely. I mean, that Halifax game stands out to me because how many huge games against Halifax have we had over recent times? They've been massive rivals. To me, that'll be the biggest of the lot. It'll be bigger than a £250,000 game. Then you also look at the Batley tie. They were a class side out at the beginning of the season. They've stuck around longer than I thought, but I think now it's becoming a drier track with their dominant forward pack. They're starting to struggle a little now because they haven't got the same reliance they can place on that. I'd fancy it's against Batley, but that Halifax tie is the one for me. That's going to be a belter, Ben.
Like I say, it could come down to that final day of the season, and what a game that could be to decide if that is a top 4 decider at home to the Bradford Bulls, Joanne.
Oh, I know, it's going to be immense, isn't it? And as I've often said, it's the Featherstone Rovers Foundation 10th anniversary celebration day that day, so let's hope we've got lots and lots to celebrate.
Okay, folks, so it is going to be Rovers who get first use of the ball. They're playing from right to left if you're watching on the DVD this evening. It's the Sheffield Hallam University Stadium. It's the Kingston Press Championship, and Rovers have just come up with the ball, only just. It's Sheffield Eagles against the Featherstone Rovers. It was John Davis, and on the back of the very first play of the evening, Rovers have a penalty. So, here's Rovers then on the back of that penalty, conceded in the very first play, and here's Jordan Baldwinson up to the 40. I spoke to you last week briefly about Jordan Baldwinson. I'll come to Joe on his thoughts in a minute. Here's Darryl Griffin, but Jordan Baldwinson has really stepped up his game over the last maybe 6 to 8 weeks, and he's really impressed me. Here's Ellis. Thackeray now moves it out to Channing, who's dropped back to full-back today, normally a centre, of course, in place of Ian Hardman and Danny Craven, both out today, both missing. So here's Thackeray again, he finds Baldwinson again. That's the second drive of the set for Baldwinson, he gets Rovers into 20. Ball comes left with Jordan Lilly. He tries to put the kick through, is that played at? It's been hacked forward by the Eagles, it's gone into touch, so it's going to be Rovers head and feed just inside the Eagles half. Or in fact, it is on halfway, so Rovers are going to get another set in the Eagles half, Joe. And just mentioning there, I spoke to Joanne last week about Jordan Baldwinson of late. He's really stepped up his game these last few weeks.
Definitely. I mean, Jordan's always a real workhorse, but last season on a couple of occasions he started to show his class going forward with the ball as well. He's got decent hands for a prop, which is what you want to see in a young lad, and he's got real potential. He's starting to show that more and more again this season now.
Here is Tyler Papa then. Rovers full set inside the Eagles half. What can they do with this one? Here is Bradley Tagg. Comes left through Lilly. He finds Tim Spears. A real workhorse is Tim Spears, of course. Rovers inside the Eagles 30. Griffin finds Baldwinson again. And Rovers up inside the Eagles 20 again. Here's Griffin again. Gets Rovers 10 metres out on the last tackle. Under those sticks, centre field. Rovers go right this time. Thackeray's going to put a kick through. It's going to be too long though, so that'll be a restart on the 20. But Rovers showing good early pressure, Joanne, and a repeat set there off the back of that kick, and that's a good start.
Yeah, it was just a little bit too strong was that kick from Anthony Thackeray. It's the first kick of the game near that try line, isn't it? And it just scooted dead, and so Sheffield had got that play, the tap from the 20, but that's the first foray that Featherstone Rovers have had into that Sheffield 20-metre mark.
Here are the Eagles then, just short of halfway now. That's a good drive in, but good defence from Rovers. Holding up the Eagles. Baldwinson in that tackle there, alongside Ellis and Griffin. So a full front row tackle, and here are the Eagles again up to the 40. Centre field with Steve Thorpe. He plays the ball to Carlisle, it goes left. And there's a kick over the top kick through from Corey Aston though. Easy enough for Rovers on that occasion. Duckworth fields it. But he's lost the ball in the tackle. So the Eagles are going to get a chance to attack the Rovers line now. 25 metres out, about 15 in from touch on that far side. A bad mistake, Joe.
Yeah, unfortunate that Duckworth losing the ball in the tackle. Looked a little shaky when he received it on the kick, but it's important now that Featherstone hold out early. They had the perfect start to the game. They'll want to keep that set completion going. They need the ball back first, though.
So the Eagles then with this head and feed at this scrum. Ball comes into centre field through the hands of Aston. And that's a good drive in there from Nathan Chappell, a former Rover, of course. Here's QLT down this right channel. Tim Spears just completes the tackle. The Eagles 5 metres in from touch on this near side then. Here's Strapper. Gets the Eagles 10 metres out, but good defence there. Talapapa Spears in the tackle. It's moved in field. But Matty Fozzard just slowed up before that tackle came in. Carlisle now moves it out wide through the hands of Aston. That's a dink over the top. It's a good one. It's just run dead. But that's great kick over the top from the Eagles. A great chance on that far side. Just ran dead though, Joanne, and Rovers are going to get head and feed at that scrum.
Yeah, it was the Sheffield's turn to attack our line this time, wasn't it? And on that last play, that was a lovely, delicate little kick over the top from QLT. Just went into touch before, but it was certainly a dangerous moment for Featherstone, and Featherstone have got the putting at this scrum on their own 10 metre, and Jamie Cording's bringing it up the field. 15 metres away from the Featherstone Rovers line, trying to get away from it, and Channing gets tackled. He's going to play the ball to Andy Ellis. Moves it out, Jordan Baldwinson drives it further up the field, using the forwards at the moment to make metres of Featherstone Rovers. It's gone to Griffin this time. Takes it over the 40 metre line on the fourth tackle. Goes over to the left, Lily kicks. That goes straight into the hands of QLT though, so not a great kick that from Featherstone Rovers standards, and QLT brings it back up to the Sheffield 30 metre, just short of.
Well, it was good work in defence from Sheffield. They'll be pleased to see that. But Featherstone at least keeping hold of the ball. Important they find a turf with that kick, though. They can turn that Sheffield back line, because at the moment, that's too far out to be starting their set.
So the Eagles then on their own 40 metre line. That's going out to that left-hand channel. That's good defence though from Rovers, moving up so quickly. The ball comes in field then, through the hands it goes. But again, that's going to be a high tackle though, on halfway. So it is a high tackle, it is going to be a penalty on the halfway spot. Aston goes left, finds touch comfortably. So the Eagles are going to start 25 out. There's the tap, and interestingly it's worked out wide. There's low, and it's a forward pass. You can see what the Eagles there were trying to do. I think that was a set play there. They were working on that first play. But the pass just drifting forward. And that won't please Mark Aston one bit.
No, not on the first play. It's, I can see why teams might want to try something like that, but when it doesn't come off, it's a bit of a disaster, really, isn't it? When what you really need at this early stage of the game is to build up on some possession and, build on some territory as well, but they've just handed the ball straight back to Featherstone Rovers.
Ball goes down that short side with Jamie Foster. The ball's worked in field. Here's Baldwinson again. That's a good hit. The second man in looked to be a high tackle to me. But referee happy enough, and Rovers driving that ball forward. Making a good 10 metres at the moment on these drives of Featherstone. Lilly finds Tim Spears. Spears gets Rovers just short of halfway now. And there's a penalty for interference at the play of the ball. Steve Thorpe holding on too long. So Rovers are going to get a penalty here. They're going to get that ball into touch. They're going to have a good set here in the Eagles' half. And this is a good opportunity for Rovers. They're starting now 25 metres out from the Eagles' line. Talapapa takes that tap into Lilly, who finds Darryl Griffin. Not the best pass to Griffin there, though. The defence was up on Griffin straight away. Ellis picks that up one-handed. He'll take the ball in himself. Finds Talapapa, who spins in the tackle but slips. Here's Lilly again now. Shows it twice. Moves the ball out to Thackeray now. Thackeray finds Davis, who offloads, but picked up by Menzies. Disappointment there for Rovers, trying to force a pass when not necessarily needed. And the Eagles now breaking out, Joe.
Definitely, and sure enough, they're earning the penalty here. They're getting the roll line to tackle, and we're not able to force them on their backs. Those quick plays forcing us to give penalties away. Yet again, they've got great field position, and they're able to launch an attack.
I just felt on that attack there with Featherstone Rovers, we were just a little bit too slow with the passing and perhaps with the play, the balls, and Sheffield were up on us very quickly, and that's what forced the mistake. So full credit to Sheffield's defence, but maybe we just need to put a bit more pizzazz in attack.
Straffer plays the ball to Carlisle. Here's Nathan Chappell. How he'd love a try tonight. Sun is very low over away to our right. Carlisle finds Straffer again on the charge. That was a great drive by Straffer. He's a metre short. The ball's worked in field to Aston. Shapes to kick and then comes back right again. I don't think he knows where he's going. He's going through a gap. He's going to get the ball down. That's the first try of the evening. It's gone the way of the Sheffield Eagles. Disappointment for Rovers. Really disappointing try from a defensive point of view. The ball swung in field to Corey Aston in centre field. It looked to be going nowhere. And then it came back where the ball had came and a gap opened up. And Corey Aston straight through the gap. And he's got that ball down 15 in from touch on this near side. And it's Sheffield Eagles 0, Featherstone Rovers 4.
Well, on the face of it for Sheffield, it looks like a brilliant individual try. Corey Aston spotted the gap and taken advantage. From a Rovers point of view, though, very disappointing. Fallen asleep on the short side when the ball's gone one way. He then switches back once his options are closed off. And there's a gap outside of Tim Spears. There's no communication between him and that outside man. It causes a gaping hole in the line, and sure enough, Aston was able to take advantage. You'd fancy him to convert this and extend the lead further now.
Yeah, it was just a case of too many Featherstone Rovers defenders hanging off there and just watching Corey Aston as he danced around, and eventually he danced that much that he found a gap through that Featherstone Rovers defence to go over, and here he is with the attempt at the conversion. Sun's in his eyes. But it goes straight through the middle of the post, so that is 6-0 to Sheffield Eagles after about 12 minutes of play.
So the conversion is successful. The inquest taking place behind the line for the Rovers. It's important though, Joe, that Rovers don't get downhearted by this. Yes, it's a disappointing try to concede, but if Rovers just need to keep working hard, and it's Sheffield Eagles 6, Featherstone Rovers 0.
Definitely, without a doubt, Featherstone are the quality side out on the park today, but in their approach at times, it's just looked a little lackadaisical. That tackle from Missy Talapapa, however, was far from it, and sometimes you just need a tackle like that to try and G the lads, get them up for this game.
Here are the Eagles then. That ball's worked in field. Going through the motions. Sheffield at the moment working the ball up with the forwards. Just short of their own 40 now. Ball's worked out through that left-hand channel. Carlisle goes left. It's swung out wide again. And Gary Lowe comes in field. Keel Carlisle digs the tip over the kick over the top. Well read by Channing though. He's going to return the ball in field. Tries to get away from the Eagles defence but can't. Plays the ball just outside his own line. Here's Talapapa now. Rovers just going through the motions. As Jamie Foster takes that drive in. Here's Baldwinson now. Drives that ball in well. Rovers just short of their own 30 now. Ellis A quick scoop from Ellis. That's great play with an offload to Baldwinson. Ellis puts a kick over the top from Lilly. That's better. It turns round QLT. It has to return it. And Joe, that's much better from Featherstone Rovers.
A far superior kick. Again, that set completion off a quick play, and players being alert to what other players are doing. Jordan Baldwinson there, following Andy Ellis on his break on the inside. That ultimately left Lilly with the space to put in that great kick, held up beautifully, and now we're looking to pin Sheffield.
And here are the Eagles, and that's good defence as well from Rovers. Griffin and Ellis in that tackle. The balls will come back with Corey Aston. He's going to put a long kick in this time. It hasn't got the angle to find the touchline, and Channing picks it up just inside his own 20. Makes about 15 metres. That's a great return from Channing. And he's won a penalty for a high tackle as well. That's great play from Michael Channing. So often nowadays, Joanne, we see the full-backs and wingers returning the ball laterally. But Michael Channing, direct running there, made 15 metres. And on the back of that, a penalty.
Yeah, it certainly was a good run from Channing, wasn't it? I think also credit to the Rovers' defence after that Jordan Lilly kick. Sheffield had to kick that from within their own 30-metre area, 35 metres. Corey Aston had to put that kick in. It was a decent kick, but Channing returned it with gusto, and Featherstone are now 20 metres away from that Sheffield line and looking to attack.
Lilly shows it once, finds Channing out the back. Here's Talapapa. Almost through a gap. He is through a gap. Still going, Talapapa is a metre short. A penalty for Featherstone in back play, I think. Yes, there's an Eagles player being called out, so I think Mr. Sweet is going to give Rovers a penalty for an incident in back play. I didn't see the incident, to be fair. I was following the ball. But the referee in discussion with an Eagles player, and Rovers are going to get a penalty. And what an opportunity this is, Joe.
Confused on your Joes there, Ben. Absolutely. Fantastic opportunity, and a well-deserved one as well, because they were coming forward with pace, being alert once again and looking at their options. He earned them a penalty because they were looking dangerous again. Sheffield had to adapt to that. They weren't able to do so.
Just got a break in play at the moment while a Sheffield player receives some attention. It's Steve Thorpe that's just had some attention. I think he had a cut to the face that Mr. Sweet wanted seeing to. So Andy Ellis takes the tap 10 metres out. Darryl Griffin drives it in towards the middle of the field, towards those posts. 5 metres away from the Sheffield line. Andy Ellis takes it to the left. It goes to Missy Talapapa, who spins, but is well wrapped up by the Sheffield players, and it looks as though it's been deemed as a forward pass as that pass to Missy Talapapa, much to the Sheffield Eagles players' delight as they all pat each other on the back.
And also the delight of the Eagles fans behind those sticks in that stand away to our left as well. Disappointment for Rovers, though. That was a great opportunity there to really put some pressure on this Eagles defence. And John Sharp, Joe, will be very disappointed with that one.
You'd expect so, although they are experimenting near the line. They've turned it over in a decent area, so it's more about how they respond to that mistake in this next defensive set.
So it is going to be an Eagles scrum down, head and feed on their own 10-metre line, which Corey Aston will feed. Out of the back, and here come the Eagles now. How's this Rovers defence going to hold up on this set? Looking good on that first tackle, Andy Ellis, but no, a penalty conceded. I was just about to say Andy Ellis and Bradley tagging the tackle, but the referee said no, there's a penalty. That will not please John Sharp at all. Over on that far side, Duckworth almost keeping the ball in, but that's a great touch finder. And that is a coach killer, isn't it? You can turn over possession like that. The message goes out to the team, let's have a good defensive set. And on the first tackle, Joanne, they concede a penalty.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Joe was just talking about it depended how we responded to that, and unfortunately, discipline let us down a little bit there, and so Sheffield are back within the Featherstone Rovers half and taking it up to 30 metres away from our own try line.
Michael Knowles it was with the drive, and here's the next drive in. The Eagles then attacking the Rovers 20 again, just outside. Carlisle picks up one-handed, he goes into the line. That's a great pass. Absolutely fantastic try from the Eagles. It's Scott Wielden. Keele Carlisle taking that ball in, drawing the Rovers defence in. A gap opened up and a perfectly timed pass to Scott Wielden. Scott Wielden with an easy run on just to the left of the sticks. It's going from bad to worse for the Rovers, Joe. It's Sheffield Eagles 10, Featherstone Rovers 0.
Well, at first down the other end, it looked like Featherstone had done brilliantly well. They'd got 3 men into the tackle, but they were unable to force the man on his back. That led to them holding him down, ultimately resulting in a penalty which gave them the field position to launch that attack. From that, they've got through the line. It's disappointing. Players not adapting, not moving as a line, and gaps therefore being created. With that alertness from Keele Carlisle, he's looked busy all game so far, and he was aware of his man outside of him, used him to his full potential. It's a disappointing start from the Rovers, and it's got to take a big response from some big characters. You look at what's to come off the bench. Will the introduction of Ormond Royd and Bostock have an impact?
The try is converted for the Eagles. So it's Sheffield Eagles 12, Featherstone Rovers 0. I'll come to Joanne in a minute once she's finished updating Twitter. Disappointment for Rovers, Joanne, but they need to not let the heads drop. They're still in this game. They need a big shot, they need a big response. But it's vital that we get the next try just to keep ourselves in touching distance.
Yeah, it's certainly not the opening 20 minutes that John Sharp would have wanted from his team, being 12-0 behind on the score sheet. We've got to score next, basically. There's no two ways about it, is there? And stand up to Sheffield. And I think maybe in attack we need to look at playing the ball quicker. We seem to be a little bit slow in attack, and we're not been doing too bad in terms of the discipline. We are actually behind on the penalty count, so we'll see how we go with that. So there's a kick just being put in by Sheffield. Mike Channing retrieved it in our own 20-metre area, and we've just got the second tackle here, just going up to 25 metres away from our own try line as Baldwinson takes it forward.
Baldwinson plays the ball to Ellis. Here's Jamie Cordy now, spots the gap. That's a good run from Cordy. Rovers just short of halfway now. Ellis, centre field, finds Thackeray, who finds Bradley Tagg now. Into the Eagles half go Featherstone Rovers. But it's the last tackle just outside the Eagles 40. So Lily's going to put that one in the air. That's going to come down with snow on it. But it's easy enough for QLT, who gets away from 2. Disappointing for Rovers, such a good kick. Held up well in the air, the chase was good, but they weren't able to complete the tackle. And off the back of that, the Eagles are just short of their own 40. Gary Lowe's having a run. And into the Rovers half goes Sheffield Eagles. So the Eagles just in 35 metres out down this right-hand channel. Aston with a kick over the top again. Channing comes across and fields it well, but is well tackled. A quick play of the ball, and Rovers now returning that ball. How Rovers could really do with a penalty right about now, please, Mr. Referee. That's a good run in though from Duckworth. Plays the ball to Lilly. Here's Talapapa now, that looked high. Referee happy enough with it. An untidy play, the ball again from Sheffield and from Missy Talapapa. Lilly sees the gap, tries to get through it. That's the last tackle. Rovers on their own 40 still. So a great defensive set. Thackeray's going to put the kick over the top. He's going to find the ground. He's going to turn round. QLT, which is important. How's the chase? That's a better chase from Rovers, and the Eagles are starting on their own 20. Joanne.
Yeah, it was a better set of 6 there, wasn't it, from Featherstone? Because when Channing got that ball, he was virtually in this right-hand corner touchline, or the left-hand side for Featherstone Rovers, right on the try line. So for us to make those metres up the field, and then to have that good kick from Thackeray that found the turf, and a decent chase. There was a full blue and white stripe line there for Sheffield to face. And and that was good defence there from Featherstone Rovers, chasing up as Corey Aston puts that ball out on the full. So that will be a scrum for Featherstone Rovers on the Sheffield 40, just as we make an interchange there as Darryl Griffin leaves the field and Andy Bostock replaces him.
So Rovers interchange, as you've heard there. Andy Bostock's come on for Rovers, Darryl Griffin's gone off. We're talking about the Eagles, Joe. 12-0 up, they've been in control, but we're talking about Rovers needing some sort of break. It could be something as simple as that Corey Aston kick out on the full, and instead of being in their own half, Rovers are starting on the Eagles 40. That could just be the break that Rovers need. Definitely,
it can be something like that that turns the momentum in the way that a game's going, and definitely Featherstone get their wits about them now. We've just had the introduction of Andy Bostock, and we know how explosive he can be going forward on occasion. So if they can now follow up on what was a fantastic defensive set to put Aston under pressure there, with a good free-flowing attacking set, end it in the right area, then it could well turn the tide of the game.
Cording with that first drive. Ellis moves the ball out to Andy Bostock. Rovers then 25 metres out centre field.
Shirt number 20.
Thackeray now. Shows it and almost gets to a gap. Clever play from Thackeray and well read by Matty James though. The gap opened up just for Thackeray for a minute. It's worked back in. Here's Bradley Tagg now. Rovers, this is better. Just on the 10 metre line now, just to the left of those uprights. Andy Bostock's going to drive for that line. That's a good drive from Bostock. It's 5 metres away now. Under the sticks, Ellis goes to Thackeray, right hand side. Kick for that corner. It's taken well over on that far side, but good defence. Good defence by the Eagles to force the Rovers into touch. Rovers have a player down. It's Anthony Thackeray. The referee is going to call time off for the injury. I didn't see what happened. I was following the ball. But that's the last thing that Rovers need at the moment, is an injury to Anthony Thackeray, Joanne.
Yeah, I was following the flight of the ball, so I'm not entirely sure what did happen to Anthony Thackeray there. He tried to get up and then went back down on the floor. He's just receiving some treatment from the physio there. He's laid on his front, so not sure exactly where the injury is that is being looked at. So not sure if that was in the act of kicking or whether he had a challenge put on him. But yeah, good play by Sheffield, because they let James Duckworth take that ball over there on that right-hand corner, and they knew that as soon as he took it that they would be able to put him into touch. So it's not a bad place to turn the ball over though.
No, and in addition to that, Featherstone looked to have a bit more of an idea about how they were approaching their attack. They were shifting the ball both sides and probing at Sheffield. If we can see more of that, then I think we'll find a way through. We've definitely got the quality out on the park there. One man of quality in particular, though, is currently down, and the length of time this has stayed this way is worrying. Anthony Thackeray will be a huge loss with his kicking game already so far. He saved that bacon on a couple of occasions.
George Tyson.
The incident's been put on report, so you would fancy a slightly a late challenge on the kicker. Unfortunately, I wasn't out there wearing yellow, so I was following the flight of the ball too and didn't see it myself. Definitely the duration that's being taken over this injury is concerning though.
Yeah, there's several medical staff involved here, including Sheffield Eagles medical staff attending to Anthony out there, and it looks like we're going to have quite a lengthy stoppage in play. He's still laid on his front. He's not moved very much since he went back down onto the floor.
Such rotten luck for Rovers as well, and for Anthony Thackeray the season he's had. He had such a strong start to the season. Then the injury that he picked up in London, he was out for a long time, came back, and here comes the stretcher. This does not look good for Anthony Thackeray at all. Came back and then he had another spell out injured, and then back in the lineup today after missing out last week. And how big a blow is it after coming back today, Joe? It's such a loss for Rovers, but they have got an adequate replacement on the bench in Kyle Briggs, of course, who can slot in, and I fancy might see Briggs and Lilly in at half-back.
Definitely, we've got an adequate replacement, but it doesn't change what a loss Anthony Thackeray is. He's the maestro of this orchestra. He's the man who leads us about the park, and when we were struggling to find a way through, you fancy he'd have found the way to unlock that defence.
It's not Thackeray, it's Channing.
It's not Anthony Thackeray, my apologies. We thought it was Anthony Thackeray. Anthony Thackeray's out. It's Michael Channing who's down. So after all that we've been taught, we've just spent 5 minutes talking about how big a loss Anthony Thackeray is, and he's actually still on the field. But it's Michael Channing who's actually injured. So what do Rovers do now at fullback?
I'm not sure. I mean, I just hope that Channing's okay, because again, he's only been back for 2 games, and this looks a very serious injury for him. And it also makes you wonder what did happen in back play there.
Just went down now.
Right. And Anthony Thackeray is up and about. He's fine, but I think what the mistake there was that they are both wearing the same colour boots. So apologies there that we'd got the wrong player, and he is face down on the floor, so we couldn't quite see who it was. Like I say, it was an incident that happened in back play. Quite a long hold up here as he's put onto that stretcher. But this certainly looks like a very serious injury for Michael Channing, and not good to see. It's not good to see any player get injured in a rugby league game or in any kind of sport. So best wishes out there for Michael Channing, and hope that he's okay, Ben.
Indeed, and of course the concern now from Rovers' point of view is how do they adapt? I don't know if Jamie Foster's played at fullback before. If he could drop back in there, it'd be interesting. We'll certainly try and keep an eye open on that, how we are going to adapt over the next few minutes. But it's such a blow when you lose your fullback, isn't it, Joe? We talk about there's 4 key positions in a rugby league side. You've got both your half-backs, your hooker, and then your fullback as well. So to lose your fullback when you haven't got a recognised fullback on the bench, it's such a blow, and it's how you adapt, isn't it?
It's going to be a challenge for Rovers to adapt without a doubt, Ben. Michael Channing will be a huge loss, and it is worrying because he's obviously only just come back from a long-term injury. Now, it looks like they're preparing to stretch him from the field, but Jamie Foster, I do believe, has spent some time at fullback in the past. Other than that, you look at options. I think Jordan Lilly's capable of dropping back today, but you wouldn't want to take him out of the halfbacks. Arguably, though, you can bring Kyle Briggs on to filling in that position. We've already got Jamie Corden covering out at centre. Our backline already was not prepared for a situation like this. With the injury problems Featherstone are already experiencing, this just adds to matters.
It does indeed. So it looks like they are just preparing now. He is fully strapped to that stretcher, and it looks like they are preparing to take him off. Yep, up he goes. So he is coming off now. A standing ovation from both sets of fans. And it's Missy Talapapa who's dropped to fullback. On comes Colton Roach. So both sets of fans on the feet for Michael Channing. Such a massive blow for Rovers. It is a turnover though. Back to the rugby. It is a turnover on that far side now. The Eagles are going to be playing the ball 10 metres out. That incident, I believe, the incident did go on report there, so we're not sure who it was, but it did go on report, so it'll be interesting to see what comes from the disciplinary on that one. So Colton Roach is on. Missy Talapapa's dropped to fullback. How do Rovers adapt to this one then? Let's find out. Here are the Eagles then, just inside their own 40. And from an Eagles point of view, I think the message has got to be test Talapapa early, Joe.
You'd expect so. I mean, when he's been out of the wing, he's look assured under the high ball, but it's very different once you're playing at fullback. You would expect him to be dangerous on the return, though, and here's the first of his returns. Sure enough, he fires in like a cannonball, but the Sheffield defence are there to meet him.
So Talapapa plays that ball, 35 out. Here's Jamie Foster now. Still Sheffield Eagles 10, Featherstone Rovers 0. Oh, 12-0, sorry. Here's Tim Spears. Gets Rovers over the Eagles, over halfway. Now into the Eagles half come Rovers. Here's Colton Roach. Plays the ball on the Eagles 40 to Andy Ellis. Here's Anthony Thackeray now. Pass to, on comes Jack Ormondroyd for Rovers as well. And Jordan Baldwinson has come off. Here's Lilly. That's a great kick from Jordan Lilly, and it's just run dead. I thought the spin on it had allowed the ball to hold up, but it has just run dead. The referee says, no, you're not taking a quick tap. But I thought that kick was almost perfect from Jordan Lilly. It just had slightly too much on it, Joanne.
It did, yeah. It's a shame it just didn't hold up in that dead ball area, isn't it? And if it had done, we'd have seen a bit of a difference there. But it's still not a bad place to be. The Sheffield have taken the tap on the 20 metre. Obviously, there's been that long break in play, probably up to about 8 minutes, I think, was that break in play for Channing to get tended to and come off the field. So the players now have to get back up into the mindset of the game and get back into the game.
So here are the Eagles and into the Rovers half the go. Aston puts another kick through along the floor. Duckworth, though, that's a disappointing kick. Didn't really have the distance or the power behind it, and Rovers are going to be starting on their own 30. And here's Talapapa. That's a great drive from Talapapa. Makes fully 10 metres. Gets Rovers 10 short of halfway. Cording now. Cording. Here's Bradley Tagg now. Gets Rovers up to halfway. We think Tim Spears has gone in at left centre. We think. Here's Andy Bostock, though. That's the last Bradley Tagg, sorry. And Anthony Thackeray's put the ball down. He was just getting, I think he had in his mind what he was going to do. Took his eyes off the ball there before the kick came through, put the ball to ground. So it's on the last tackle. It is going to be the turnover, and a disappointing way to end a set, Joseph.
Definitely not the way they'd want to end a set. Important to work to a kick once they've gone at it so hard to get down the right end of the park. Sheffield appeared to be bringing the ball forward a little bit there for their play. All the same, there is the first play. They bring it down this left side. It's Knowles. He sends it out to Yuri. Yuri gets on his front, but Cording does well to roll away there and not force the referee to give a penalty. Knowles working into the line, but can only get 5 metres. This is better from the Featherstone defence, and they're up as a line again. No further metres to be made by QLT, but a penalty given away. That was much more impressive from the Rovers, but they just couldn't keep it going, Ben. The high tackle goes in, and they've put themselves under the cosh here.
A massive disappointment there for Featherstone Rovers. As you were saying, Joe, such a strong set it was. And here's George Tyson now for the Eagles on the 10-metre line. 5 out from the 5 in from touch on that far side. Gary Lowe shows the ball and takes on the line himself. Sorry, Mark Mexico it was, sorry. Here's QLT. Here's Nathan Chappell. That's good defence from Rovers though. QLT at in half-back finds Dwayne Straffer. The Eagles 3 metres away. Carlisle swings it infield to Aston. Aston finds Mark Mexico again. Hammering at this Rovers defence. Can they hold out? Carlisle comes right again. Here's Nathan Chappell. Tries to offload. Is that's going to be given? No. Yes, the referee has given the try. Disappointment for Rovers on this in this near corner, away to our right-hand side. The pass from Nathan Chappell out to his winger on this near side, and it came off a Rovers player. The referee was going to write the tackle count clean, and the Eagles over in the corner, and further disappointment for Featherstone, and this is looking more and more like a mountain to climb. Sheffield Eagles 16, Featherstone Rovers 0.
Well, unfortunate from Featherstone. They've done well to cut out that pass on the offload there, but without a doubt, if they hadn't done so, that offload was coming out forward from Chappell. And you fancy the only reason that the touch judge hasn't spotted it is because that leg's come in and interfered with the ball. It's great commitment to get there. Sometimes luck just doesn't work out your way, though.
Yeah, I agree there with Joey. Certainly looked a suspect pass did that because it ricocheted back. I think it was off Bradley Tagg there, wasn't it? And went into the hands of Ben Blackmore, the former Featherstone Rovers player. Corey Aston has just pulled that conversion attempt just across the face of the post, so he's unsuccessful. So that's some relief for Featherstone Rovers, but it's currently Sheffield Eagles 16, Featherstone Rovers 0.
Kyle Briggs has come on for Featherstone Rovers, and Andy Ellis has gone off. So Joe's thinking is that Jordan Lilly may go in at half-back now, and Briggs will move into the half-backs. We'll soon find out. That's a great kick-off. Well taken though it was, just by QLT. Mexico with the drive. That's good defence though from Roach. So Featherstone Rovers. Oh, there's something going on there. Tim Spears in the tackle. The penalty is won. It looked to me, I'm not sure what happened there, but penalty for the Eagles. It's coming straight towards us. Heads up. And the Eagles with the tap on halfway. The tails are up, and Rovers at the moment look like they've got a lot of work to do, and I'm not sure, Joe, at the minute Rovers are struggling to find that way through.
Yeah, they are struggling, but you fancy sometimes they're just lacking that bit of commitment when getting into the final third. That's a great short ball from Carlisle. It sends James through. The pass has been ruled forward, though. They were looking dangerous yet again there, but Featherstone have come away with the ball. It's important they break out well now. They could really do with a score on the board before half-time, Ben.
Before half-time, and I said it before when the Eagles scored the last try, the Rovers had to score next, they didn't. But Featherstone Rovers. So we are into injury time at the end of this first half, but it is a long stoppage. So we could still have another 4 or 5 minutes left here yet. Rovers are on the 40 now. It is Lilly in attacking half-back. He finds Andy Bostock now. Bostock gets Rovers up to halfway. Here's Jack Ormondroyd. That's better for Rovers. A great drive from Ormondroyd. Makes fully 15 metres and wins a penalty. Superb play from Jack Ormondroyd. A really powerful drive and won the penalty. Rovers, Lilly's going to put this one into touch on that far side. Rovers are going to get a full set inside the Eagles half. Inside the Eagles 20, sorry. Here's Colton Roach with the first drive. Rovers desperately need a try here now. Kyle Briggs. That's behind everybody. And Bradley Tagg does well to retrieve it. Here's Talapapa now. Rovers have lost some momentum, but coming down that short side, here's Bradley Tagg again. Rovers 5 metres away now. Lilly puts the kick through. Oh, that's fumbled. Oh, fumbled there by the Eagles. It's going to be a dropout. Rovers' first dropout of the afternoon. That was better from Featherstone Rovers. Much better. A great kick for causing panic in that Eagles defence, and that's just what Featherstone Rovers needed, Joanne.
Yeah, Jordan Lilly there with a lovely little dink through towards the post, bounced along the floor, gave Sheffield all sorts of problems. Unfortunately, there wasn't a Featherstone player there to follow it up in the speed that we'd have wanted, but the dropout has come. Foster's passed it to Jack Ormonroyd, who drives it forward with those long legs of his. So Featherstone are 25 metres away from that Sheffield try line. Could do with getting over it really before half time to give us a little bit of impetus going into that second half. So Lilly takes it, acting half-back, passes it to Thackeray, goes out to the right there. Jamie Cording comes inside. Oh, sorry, Missy Talapapa comes inside. And he's still going. He's dancing around, and there's a Featherstone Rovers player down in back play yet again, and the physio's on to that player. Featherstone Rovers players, the Featherstone Rovers fans are booing. The touch judge has entered the field, so something has occurred in back play once again, and we've got a Featherstone Rovers player down on the floor.
It was a late tackle there on the Rovers. The touch judge has seen that one though. There's a card coming out. There's a card. It's yellow. Only a yellow. So the Eagles are down to 10 men. It's Jordan Lilly who was taken out in back play. It's Mark Mexico who's in the sin bin. So he'll miss the end of this half and the opening few minutes of the second half. Joe.
Yeah, late tackle from the big Papua New Guinean on Jordan Lilly there, but this gives Featherstone a great opportunity to find a way over the whitewash for the first time in this game. They're working it down the left. It's a short pass from Briggs to Tim Spears. He's unable to quite find his way over. Agonisingly close though as Lilly here stands at the foot of the ruck, works it short to the left. He keeps hold of it, but he can't quite find the way through. And Talapapa now is lurking.
Jordan Lilly is dumped on the floor there unceremoniously. It seemed as though after the tackle had been called as held. Bostock passes it out. It goes out. It's gone onto the floor. Oh dear. Sheffield player has picked it up. I think it's Menzieri who's...
Gary Lowe.
It's Gary. And it's going to be a try for Sheffield under the post. Gary Lowe picks it up, the winger for Sheffield. It was a loose pass that came out, and Anthony Thackeray couldn't pick that ball up. Gary Lowe got to it first, and he just raced a full 80 metres to that try line. So it goes from Featherstone Rovers attacking to Sheffield scoring. That's really bad news just before half-time.
Well, Featherstone were having the most dangerous stint of the game, and that is a crushing blow for them. They could well have swung the momentum before half-time. They could have been going into the dressing rooms in their pomp, but instead, Gary Lowe races 80 metres and delivers, like we say, a crushing blow to the Rovers. There was no catching him once he got away, just pinned his ears back, and without a doubt, this will go on to be converted, and Sheffield will extend their lead even further. There's going to be a real fight on their hands for the Rovers in the second half.
I just wanted to add there as well, and of course that's with Sheffield with 12 men, so it's criminal, isn't it, for them to be putting points on while they've got we've got a man advantage.
Sheffield Eagles then, the try is, oh, under the uprights, unheard of. Corey Aston under the uprights has hit the upright. Oh my, I've not seen that for a very long time, and that, I talked about the kick out on the full might be a lift for Rovers. That could, strangely enough, that could be a boost, a lift for Rovers as well. And it's Sheffield Eagles 20, Featherstone Rovers 0. The kickoff is taken by Nathan Chappell. Look at that defence. It's managed to get the pass away just. I thought Rovers had done well. Ben Blackmore almost, I think, lost the ball there as well. Lost his shorts, never mind the ball. Here's Aston, moves it out wide now. Here's Michael Knowles. So the Eagles then just short of halfway. Here's George Tyson. Here's the last tackle on halfway, the Sheffield Eagles now. Ball goes left, that's a kick through from Michael Knowles. It's a good kick through from Michael Knowles. Does well to find touch, and that's all the Eagles really need to do now to see out this first half. Complete your set, find touch safely, and get a good solid defensive line set, and you fancy the Eagles are going to be going in with a 20-0 lead.
Definitely, they're approaching this in a perfect manner. It's therefore up to Featherstone to find a way to disrupt that pattern. The differential penalty at the scrum will be a decent start. It'll get them down the right end of the field. Now they've got to show us something special to find a way over the whitewash.
Featherstone's customary differential penalty there. Joanne's favourite type of penalty at the scrum there. So Rovers now into the Eagles half to go with Colton Roach. The Eagles very slow to release there. Lilly finds Briggs. Briggs out the back to Talapapa, who takes on the line. Almost to a gap, but he gets 30 metres out. He's 10 in from touch on this near side. Again, an untidy play, the ball. Here's Bostock now. Bostock through a gap! Bostock! He's an inches short. And a penalty's conceded. Andy Bostock with a humongous drive there. He's tackled though inches short. Time is called off is. No, it's not. Here's the tap, it's Jack Ormondroyd. He's inches short. So Rovers, Thackeray to Briggs. Spears comes back on the angle. Lilly to Thackeray again. Thackeray with a kick through. Yes! Jamie Cording! It's Jamie Cording, I think. Jamie Cording it is. When Anthony Thackeray put that kick through, Joanne stood at the side of me, said, "Know what we're doing." And then, but Jamie Cording, so alert to it, able to run through, dive on that ball. And we said Rovers needed a score before half-time desperately. They've got one right on the hooter. It's Sheffield Eagles 20, Featherstone Rovers 4.
Yeah, it was a great play there, wasn't it, by Thackeray? But it was early on in the tackle count, but obviously the message had gone out that we were running out of time, and that's why we put that kick in early in the tackle count, because that half-time hooter has gone. So very clever play indeed. Jamie Cording showing great pace there to chase onto that kick and touchdown. And at last we've got over that Sheffield try line. And how much of a boost is that going into that half-time dressing room, Joe?
It could be an essential boost, Joanne. Featherstone now know they can find a way through that Sheffield defence. They've added to the scoreboard there. Jamie Foster sending the ball between the uprights. But yeah, great bit of play we kept the ball alive. We'd swung it out to that left edge, and then Tim Spears came inside on the angle. Jordan Lilly was the link man then as we went back to the right side. But Fakhri keeping his head up, knowing he had those men on the outside and sending the dangerous grubber through. Fantastic finish from Cording, the most alert to the bouncing ball. And we've reaped our rewards for finally a good bit of attacking play from the Rovers.
Was indeed. I'll just come to Joanne for a summary first of all.
Okay, so the first try of the evening went to Corey Aston, and with that individual effort where the Featherstone Rovers players hung off him, he danced around and went over the try line, and he was successful with converting that. Second try was the Scott Wielden try where he burst onto that Keele Carlisle pass, and Corey Aston again converted that. That was 20 minutes played at that point, and it was 12-0 to Sheffield. The injury to Channing then occurred, and we had quite a long delay in play. We'll try and get some news on Michael Channing and see how he is, but hoping that he's okay. And the Sheffield player was put on report for that incident in back play that occurred. The next try that came was Ben Blackmore, a bit of a fortunate try for Sheffield, but they were in that position to get over in that right-hand corner. Aston unsuccessful with that conversion. It was 16-0. And then Sheffield had Mark Mexico sent to the sin bin for a late challenge on Jordan Lilly. And following that, immediately, Featherstone Rovers were attacking on that try line. The ball went to ground as we forced the pass, and Gary Lowe picked that ball up and ran the length of the field to go under the sticks. Corey Aston amazingly hit the post with that conversion attempt under the sticks. So at that point, it was 20 points to 0. And then perhaps a bit of a game saver going into that half-time hooter as Thackeray's kick went over the try line. Jamie Cording raced onto it, touched down, and Jamie Foster added the 2. So that's 20 points to 6 going into half-time.
Thank you for that, Joanne. So a difficult first half for Rovers, Joe, but a chink, a glimmer of hope almost with that try right on half-time. John Sharp can get the players in that dressing room at half-time, right a few wrongs, and that try on half-time could prove to be such a huge difference.
Definitely, the comeback started there, Ben. Makes important difference to the scoreboard, but even more crucial impact on Featherstone's mindset, perhaps. You've got to remember, of course, for those first few minutes of the second half, they'll have an additional man. I think it could be crucial that we capitalise on that there and then.
Has there been any standout performances for you in the first half, Joanne?
Well, it's been quite a difficult one, hasn't it? You know, being 20-0 down, it's hard to look at standout performances, I think, Ben. I think we'll go into the second half and see how we perform there. And there's been lots of interchanges going on due to the injury to Channing. Obviously, Kyle Briggs came on then for Andy. So the pivotal players have been changing around quite a bit in that first half too.
Yeah, I would like to pay credit to Missy Talapapa, though. He's obviously, his first game back was fantastic. Already going down this left flank, putting a brilliant tackle to try and G the lads early in the game, and then slotted into fullback like he'd been playing there all season.
Okay, and that's it, folks. The half-time score here at the Sheffield Hallam University Stadium. Sheffield Eagles 20, Featherstone Rovers 6. Welcome back to the second half here at the Sheffield Hallam University Sports Ground. Sheffield Eagles 20, Featherstone Rovers 6. That's right, isn't it? It is indeed. That's no scoreboard, no clock, so we're just having to guess as we go along. Unless the scoreboard's underneath us and we just can't see it. How I would love to be a fly on the dressing room in the Featherstone dressing room at half-time. What do you think he's saying?
Well, I mean, I think when the game first started, it'd have said that you know that the Featherstone should be just going with it, you know, and grinding it out, and you know, even after they put that first score in. But I think when that second try went in, maybe things were changing a little bit then, and that's when we started making the interchanges. And some of the tries that have come have been through our own errors. It has to be said, you know, just lapses in concentration, and I think perhaps what John and Danny will be looking at in that second half will be snappier play the balls, you know, a little bit more speed in attack. Not even though we've let 20 points in defence, it's not been a bad effort really, because one of those was an interception try. There was a lapse in the concentration with the Corey Aston try, and one of them was a little bit unlucky to concede. I think it came off Jamie Foster's leg actually, that one in the corner for Ben Blackmore. But apart from that, the defence has been pretty good. I think it's the attack. I think if we could speed up those play the balls around that ruck and have some scoots from the hooker and make some space for people to do creative play, I think that would be that would put Sheffield on the back foot, and especially for the first few minutes of this second half when we will have a man advantage.
First score, Joe, in this second half is crucial, though, isn't it? Rovers on the back of that try right on the half time. If they can get the first score of this second half, get back to within 8 points, that'll give them a huge psychological lift, won't it?
Definitely, Ben. Featherstone have to score first and they have to score early. The scoreboard, the way it is, dictates that. But also, thanks to the sin bin of Mexico, Sheffield are a man down. So Featherstone have to capitalise on that for me.
So we're just waiting the return of the two teams, Joanne.
I was just going to mention at half-time there, former Featherstone Rovers player received his heritage number. That was former hooker Trevor Clark. Down here on the pitch, it was the only game that he could get to today. So it's been here an away game actually at Sheffield, but he played 125 games for Featherstone Rovers between 1988 and 1992, and he was a much-loved player down at the ground during that time. So it's good to see Trevor here and receiving his heritage certificate from Chris Heinitz, and it's a good thing that we've done there with the heritage numbers. It shows the history, the rich vein of history that the club of Featherstone Rovers has got since our inception into the rugby league in 1921. So both teams are out on the field now, back out on the field. Featherstone Rovers playing to the non-stand end, although there was sort of like a little marquee there. Featherstone Rovers fans have made the trip to behind the other set of sticks. Jamie Foster just getting the ball teed up there for that kick-off for the second half, and he does so. Kicks it long and deep, and it bounces on the floor. Looked quite dangerous, did that, but and that's a good return though there. That's a great return, but the messy play, the ball is knocked on. So after that great return there, he's actually knocked on as the player. And a penalty for dissent, presumably there. And a team warning, so everything going on in the first few seconds of this second half. So great kick-off by Jamie Foster. Sheffield player picked it up, brought it in 25 metres, then knocked on in the tackle. The knock-on was given, and Mr. Sweet was forming the scrum, and the player dissented, and it's ended up a penalty to Featherstone, 10 metres away from the line, Ben.
What a boost this would be for Rovers. Tries in the 2 minutes either side of half-time would just give them such a lift. Here's Ormondroyd now, Rovers. 2 metres away, under the right-hand upright. Lilly goes left to Thackeray, out wide to Briggs. Briggs shows it, goes himself, comes back inside. 5 metres away then, Kyle Briggs. Lilly, Talapapa slips. Here's the last tackle now. That's awful. It's gone the water. Shocking pass that was from Lilly out of the base from the acting halfback on the last tackle. Such a good opportunity for Featherstone there. An opportunity bombed, and Joe, it almost was the start that Rovers wanted, but what a way to end a set.
They got in the perfect area. Sheffield are under the cosh, but absolutely, if you're not going to score a try, you've got to keep applying that pressure and finish the set better than that. The ball coming out of the ruck was far too slow all the way through that set and just putting us on the back foot, meaning Sheffield were able to get up in the line and close off our options on the fringe.
Yeah, it was awful, wasn't it? That it's not good to see. If we want a top 4 place, we've got to be doing better than that in attack. When we've got a team on the back foot like that, that's a great pass there by Sheffield, and they're offloading in the tackle. It goes from Aston to QLT, who runs across the face of the defence, looking for that gap round the outside. He makes some ground forward, does QLT, so he's up to the Featherstone Rovers 30-metre line. The kick comes in on the last. It goes straight into John Davies's grateful hands, and he passes to Missy Talapapa, who goes up to the 40-metre line with his strength. So that was a good bit of play there. It was a poor kick from Aston, went straight into Davies's hands, but he offloaded to Talapapa, who brought it up. Jordan Lilly now up to the 40-metre line. Andy Bostock bounces off one tackler, takes it over halfway.
Plays the ball to Jordan Lilly from acting halfback. That's a very quick play, superb play from Lilly. So alert to the markers not being ready, not being set. Makes fully 20 metres. Thackeray goes left to Briggs. Briggs puts one over the top for a chase. It's hacked dead though by Ben Blackmore. That's better from Featherstone. Jordan Lilly, Joe, so alert to that opportunity then. Alert that the markers weren't there. He made a great 20 metres.
He certainly was. We were getting quicker play the balls. We were getting a roll on, and that gave us some momentum going forward. Sheffield couldn't handle it. It causes the defence to struggle, and it continues to have a knock-on effect. Ultimately, we're applying more pressure now because they've been forced into a dropout. Great chase from Jamie Foster to apply the pressure on that fringe, by the way.
So there's the dropout, which Thackeray takes above his head. Here goes Andy Bostock. I could hear that hit from up here. He offloads to Thackeray. Here's Colton Roach now with a standing start. It's a knock-on by Sheffield. Got a hand in the ball, knocked the ball out. It's a scrum down head and feed to Rovers. Andy Bostock, Joanne, he's such an aggressive runner when he drives that ball in. And he's got a great offload game, but sometimes he just got to hold on to that ball. You don't have to offload in every tackle, do you?
Oh man, first tackle there, you know, and he offloads, and sometimes it comes off, but that was a high offload. Oh, and Bradley Tagg knocks on the first play from that scrum, so, oh gosh. The pass went to Bradley Tagg there, and he juggled with it in the air, and he knocked it forward onto a Sheffield player, so that will be a scrum to Sheffield. Sheffield absolutely delighted with that. And Featherstone are just bombing these opportunities at the moment that they're having to press on that Sheffield line. And like I've said before, you know, if we're wanting this top 4 seriously, it is slipping away from us at the moment with, you know, when we're putting a performance in like this.
So yet another chance goes a begging for Featherstone Rovers. Here is QLT for the Eagles down that short side on their own 40-metre line now. Ball's worked inside. Here's Dwayne Straffer. He gets that ball just shy of halfway. In fact, he's on halfway now. It's a good drive in there by Scott Wheeldon. Try scorer in that first half. A good break from acting half-back. Aston finds Knowles. Knowles, that's good defence from Rovers. 3 in the tackle. So the Eagles then. Here's Tyson. That's a better defensive set for Rovers as well. Aston dinks one over the top. Channing reads it superbly but loses the ball. It's a head and feed to the Eagles at the scrum. Channing just losing the ball in that tackle. It was Talapapa, sorry, not Channing. Losing that ball in the tackle. Disappointment again, Joanne.
Well, it was a little kick over the top. Talapapa was put under a lot of pressure there, and it was a great chase by the Sheffield Eagles, looking really keen and eager, chasing that kick, and put lots of pressure on Talapapa. And he lost the ball as those challengers came in, and Sheffield have got a dangerous scrum in a dangerous place here. Pass goes out to QLT, who just manages to take it, but falls to the floor. Goes out now. Great tackle coming in there. Over on that Rovers left-hand side of Sheffield right, but Sheffield are only a few metres away from that try line now.
Oh, and that a dark scoop from Maxine half there by Fozzard. Is held up, so Rovers defence manages to hold firm on that occasion. So it is going to be a play the ball on the 10. Aston now. Offloads now to Matt Mexico, who's back on the field from his spell in the Simbin in the first half. Fozzard goes right to QLT. Here's the last tackle, so QLT gets the ball away. Here are the Eagles going for that line. Great defence from Featherstone Rovers to hold him up again on the last tackle, so Rovers survive. And it's going to be a play the ball on the 10-metre line for Talapapa to take. To Jordan Lilly. And here are Rovers now working out, but again, that could give Rovers a lift that they managed to survive that good attacking set from the Eagles, and they can take heart from that.
It was crucial. Featherstone held out there, and now more things coming to fruition for them. Mark Mexico's just re-entered the field, and now Straffe leaving the field, so Sheffield are once again down to 12 men. They weathered the storm on that last occasion, though, only conceding the one try before half-time, and that was equalled by the breakaway from Lowe that they got themselves during that period. Important that Featherstone capitalise on it more on this occasion.
Just had news about Michael Channing. He's been assessed at half-time, and he's not fit to return today, but he is okay. So just for anybody listening out there, because it looked quite a serious injury at the time.
So that is a boost for Featherstone Rovers. Jack Ormondroyd giving Rovers a boost. That's a great run. Gets Rovers 30 metres out centre field. Lilly finds Thackeray. Here's Davies now. Davies goes in field, finds Briggs. Briggs moves it on to Tim Spears. Tim Spears held up 5 metres away. Davies now. Briggs. Bostock. Bostock for the line. Looks for the offload. Gets the offload away. That's the time to do it. Eagles defence scrambles, and it's a penalty. Rovers are going to have another penalty. A hand in the tackle, knocking the ball out. Rovers fans, the Eagles fans underneath us, not happy with that call at all. So, but here's Andy Bostock. Takes that first drive, takes the tackle. Rovers 5 metres away, right under those sticks. Lilly finds Thackeray now. Thackeray finds Talapapa. Great tackle by the Eagles. Cording. Lilly. Poor from that play of the ball, a pass finding the ground. Here's Colton Roach, that's better for Rovers. Started Rovers 10 metres out, back where they started. Briggs. Spears comes back inside again. Here's the last tackle. Briggs puts one over the top, it's not on it. Rovers over, what's it going to be? A scrum down, head and feet to Rovers. The pressure's building. Joe, we've got to make this pressure count, though, haven't we?
Definitely. First knock on there. The time's been taken off as the Sheffield man down. I think it's I can't see who that is. Can't make it out. But Featherstone, perhaps the longest period of pressure over the game, in fact. Really need to find a way over now. And so far there's been gaps appearing on the outside. Sheffield have been stacking their men in to cope with the runs of the likes of Bostock. But Featherstone have been unable to make full use of those men on the outside. They just need to get a quick pair of hands. Simple stuff, simple rugby, Ben, but they need to be more clinical.
And this is what happened last week. We had a man over for the vast majority, about 60 minutes of that game, and we just seemed to have difficulty in creating that overlap to take advantage of the gap, and it's the same's happening again here. And it's early doors though. There's probably about 8 minutes left of this sin binning, and Featherstone have got this scrum now. Anthony Thackeray passes it on the inside to Brad Tagg, 10 metres away from that Sheffield line. Little bit of messy play the ball there, messing around in the ruck. It goes to Bostock. He took it standing still though. He bounces off a few players, drives towards the line, plays the ball to Lilly. Lilly brings it out to the right to Thackeray, to Cordin, to Duckworth, who gets in at the corner, we think. Yes, it's a try to James Duckworth, so that's his first try in the Featherstone Rovers colours. So great play there.
Much better from Featherstone Rovers. Doing what Joe was talking about a minute ago. Using the extra man, swung the ball out wide, quick play the balls. Duckworth able to get over in the corner. That's a huge boost for Rovers, whilst the Eagles are still down to 12 men. And with still 7 minutes or so left of this sin binning. Sheffield Eagles 20, Featherstone Rovers 10 with a kick to come. Joe, Rovers are well and truly back in this match.
Well, we knew there were points to be had out wide, but when we finally send it out there, it's when there's not much space available. James Duckworth on the wing would be rather different. I'm not going to leave that one down. But I tell you what, he had some big men in front of him. He had Menzieri and Gary Lowe, and you'd expect that it required someone with the weight of Jack Duckworth behind him to find a way over there. James found his way over all the same, though. It was an unbelievable finish. Foster unable to convert from the touchline. But Featherstone well and truly back in this game now.
You do realise you are never going to live that one down, don't you, Joe? But Joanne, Rovers over in the corner. Crucially, they've got that first score of the second half. They've got to complete this next set, even if they don't score, complete, get a good cooking, turn the Eagles round and build on that now whilst the Eagles are still down to 12.
Certainly, yeah, it's something that Featherstone need to capitalise on, keep this momentum up, and it would be great to get some back-to-back tries, wouldn't it, and really put that pressure and turn the screw on Sheffield.
So there's the kick-off from Aston. Thackeray able to take it. Here goes Andy Bostock on the charge. Ormondroyd. Knock on. I said it to you, Joanne, then a minute ago. I'll say it to you now, Joe. The importance, we talked about it time and time again. The importance, when you score a try, when you're struggling in a game like Rovers are, when you score a try, you've got to back it up with a set. You've got to get to the end of that set, turn the opposition round, and Rovers there with the mistake.
Rugby league is so often a game about momentum, and absolutely you've got to follow up scoring points with a completed set, kick, get the ball down the right end of the field. You've got to remain in control of that territorial battle. Otherwise, the opposition will immediately look to hit back time and time again.
So scrum down to the Eagles on the fourth to there. They go down that right-hand edge. It's Nathan Chappell who's lost the ball. So Nathan Chappell loses the ball. It's scrum down head and feet to Rovers on their own 20. That did look dangerous though. He found a gap on that right-hand channel, got through the gap, made about 20 metres, losing the ball in the tackle though. So that is a boost for Rovers, but they've got a long way to go.
Yeah, it was just down that the centre there where Brad Tagg is with Jamie Foster, and found a gap in that defensive line, didn't he? And but thankfully for Rovers, he did lose that ball, so it is a scrum down here. Rovers with that head and feed on their own 20-metre line. Ball is played Jamie Cordin in there at acting dummy half, who takes the ball up himself. He fancies a run himself, but only goes laterally across the pitch. Plays the ball to Leo, goes to Talapapa, who puts that strong run in. He's so effective. He's still going, and he's got 3 players on him. Makes it up to nearly to the halfway line. A messy ruck there, and Rovers asking for a penalty, but they're not getting one. And the ball is passed out wide to this right-hand side to Cording, but he's wrapped up by 3 Sheffield tacklers. Plays the ball to Lily, who kicks. Referee shouting to Featherstone Rovers that they were offside, so they've had to hang back 10 metres. QLT collects the ball, but he is actually tackled 12 metres away from his own line, so it was a great chase. So Featherstone Rovers in a pretty good position. They need a good set of 6 here, keep Sheffield down here, no penalties, and see whether we can force Sheffield to do this kick from deep.
Here goes Menzies. Offloads to Gary Lowe. Gary Lowe, though, tackled by Cording. Michael Knowles now finds Matt James. Former Rover, of course, Matt James. Tackled by former teammate in Andy Bostock. There's Michael Knowles with the kick. Talapapa not able to take it, so that's held up beautifully. Talapapa cannot get out. It's tackled behind his own line. It is going to be a dropout under the sticks that Rovers are going to have to make. A great kick, and one of the options that the Eagles have got, Joseph, is Michael Knowles in the second row, but he's got such an effective kicking game as well, and it came to fruition brilliantly there.
Michael Knowles, for many a year now, always has a great game against Featherstone, and he's a player capable in so many facets of the game. He's got a good pair of hands for a back rower too. Dangerous runner, as we know, and there we saw him putting a fantastic kick in. Missy fought valiantly to find his way out of his own in goal, but just couldn't. Fantastic with the chase again from Sheffield. Featherstone, like we say, have the better team on paper today, but Sheffield are doing everything as a unit. They're going forward on those kick chases like that, and in every great performance this season so far for Featherstone, that's been about togetherness and unity. Instead, it's Sheffield who are showing us that today.
Carlisle with a scoot through the line there. QLT finds Aston, who puts a kick in. Menzies. It's Menzies over for the Eagles. It's as simple as you like. For the Sheffield Eagles, the ball came through. A kick from Corey Aston behind that Rovers line. Rovers defensive line slow to react, and Menzies racing through a gap gets that ball down, and it's Sheffield Eagles 24, Featherstone Rovers 12.
Disappointing for the Rovers there. Sheffield had men over on that flank, and the grubber in behind. There was no one more alert to it. No one challenging Menzies to get to that ball first. He's managed to get it down, extend Sheffield's lead further, and now it's one hell of a task on Featherstone's hands.
It is indeed. Corey Aston is lining up this conversion for the Eagles. I'll come to Joanne after the conversion attempt. But disappointment for Rovers. They are going to make a change. I think we are going to see the return of Andy Ellis. That might bring some more fluidity to the play for Rovers from the base of that scrum. Be interesting to see who comes off. Corey Aston's hit the upright. So it's going to be a triple change for Rovers. On comes Jordan Baldwinson. So Rovers rotate the front row all together. No, Bostock stayed on. So Griffin, Baldwinson and Ellis have all come on. So it'll be interesting to see how that fits in, the Rovers players fit into that now. There's the kick-off from Foster. It's a high one again. Taken well, though, by the Eagles. There's the first drive in, but disappointment for Joe. And John Sharp obviously not happy and has shown that with a triple change, Joanne.
He has, yeah. It's a reaction, isn't it, to a Sheffield try that, and the coach at this point of the game, 24 points to 10 down, more than 2 scores down. The Featherstone Rovers have to throw everything but the kitchen sink at this game really now, and perhaps even include that kitchen sink.
I saw on Facebook earlier on, I think it was yesterday, someone offering to bring their kitchen sink with them. Here's the return from Missy Talapapa, but he's lost the ball in the tackle. Here's Straffer on the free play. The Eagles, it's Ben Blackmore. It's Ben Blackmore over for the Eagles in that corner. The kick through. Talapapa with that return from the kick. Not able to hold on to the ball coming loose. And then on the free play, it goes out to that wing. Ben Blackmore, the former Rover, over in the corner for his second of the afternoon. And it goes from bad to worse for Rovers. Sheffield Eagles 28, Featherstone Rovers 10.
Well, on the free play, anything can happen. The Eagles dared to take it down that right edge and found the way over. Sure enough, Ben Blackmore hit back against Featherstone there. And the challenge just got even more difficult for the Rovers. We said it's a game about momentum and that we didn't follow up our try well enough. Sure enough, Sheffield are punishing us for that.
Yeah, they certainly are, Joe. I think there's several stages of this game where you can look to where it's been a winnable game, really, hasn't it? You can look to where Featherstone Rovers have made errors where in key positions where they could have been putting Sheffield on the back foot. They've let Sheffield back into it, and they're punishing us good and proper as Corey Aston goes for the conversion, but he's unsuccessful with it. So that means it's Sheffield Eagles 28, Featherstone Rovers 10.
An 3-score lead for the Eagles. Bear in mind, of course, before this match started, it was 10th against 6th. The Eagles lying in 10th spot. Rovers have gone for a short kick-off. Can we get it back? Yes, we can. So Rovers get the ball from the kick-off. Jordan Baldwinson juggles it, but just holds on. Here's Griffin now. Rovers then 30 metres out from that Eagles line. Ellis, Briggs, Thackeray, Talapapa sees a gap and tries to get through it, but very quickly closed. Michael Knowles it was with the tackle. Thackeray now finds Briggs again. Briggs moves that ball, drop off pass there. Thackeray goes out left. Briggs the ball is lost. On the last tackle, the ball is knocked on by Rovers. Kyle Briggs losing it. So it is going to be a turnover on the Eagles 10, tight to that far side.
Yeah, Kyle Briggs getting caught with the ball there, wasn't he, on that last tackle, and it wasn't great. Again, we need to be doing better than that on that last tackle, that last play. So it is a handover to Sheffield, and they're bringing it away from the 10-metre line.
We have got 18 minutes left here at the Sheffield Hallam University Sports Ground. Sheffield Eagles 28, Featherstone Rovers 10. And here are the Eagles now, but good defence from Rovers, pinning the Eagles back. They're still in their own 20, and then it's all thrown away. It was such a good defensive effort to pin the Eagles back, and then the penalty conceded by Cording, and they've just given them a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Definitely, Featherstone continue not to help themselves. Hands in the ruck there was sloppy in defence, not required. We had it under control and they were in the right end of the field. We just had to look to contain them there. It's Knowles with the touch finder though, and Sheffield will just start short of the halfway line. They're in control of this game and they look to stay like that.
So the Eagles then are going to have a penalty to restart this game just 5 metres short of halfway, Joanne.
I was just going to mention that going into this game, just to put some context, Sheffield, they'd lost 9 out of the last 10 games. They'd lost the last 6, so they were coming in on a massive losing streak. So this is an immense, if the score goes their way, it is an immense win for them. And still time left in this game for Featherstone to do something, but Sheffield are looking the liveliest team as they're passing the ball. They're giving it some air there out to that right-hand side. And looking pretty dangerous. They're about 25 metres away from the Featherstone line at the moment.
So we've got about 15 minutes left here. QLT moves that ball out wide. But that's good defence from Rovers on that occasion. The Eagles, though, are 15 out. On the last tackle, 5 in from that far touchline. Aston again is going to dink one over. John Davis, that's well read by Davis. Offloads to Talapapa. Talapapa's away. Still going, Talapapa. Gets Rovers just short of halfway. A slow play of the ball. Here's Ellis now. Briggs. Thackeray. This is better. Thackeray shows it and goes himself. What a tackle that was. Briggs. Bostock. The Eagles line has got back. I'll come to Joanne in a minute. Here's Briggs now. Briggs finds Tim Spears, who looks to fumble but manages to hold on. Rovers are in the Eagles 20 now. Here's Ellis. Briggs. Davis, that's awful. It's picked up by Cording. Cording returns it inside. He gets away from Knowles once, but he can't get away the last time. Here's the last tackle. Ellis has to come right. Here's Thackeray. He'll dink one over the top. That's too deep though. Taken on the full in the Eagles 20. In-goal area, should I say. Here's the return from the Eagles. It's found out to Gary Lowe. Gary Lowe though, met by a tackle from Thierry, sorry, not Lowe. He was Menzieri, sorry. Good tackle though by Cording to stop him. Here is Gary Lowe now. The Eagles on halfway, but Rovers. Keil Carlisle is back on for the Eagles. Carlisle goes centre field. Here's Matt James. So Sheffield Eagles driving that ball in. Here's the last tackle. The Eagles are on the Rovers 30. It's in the hands of Michael Knowles. It's gone for a drop. Has he got the distance? Yes, it has. Michael Knowles with a drop goal from 35 metres out. Crucially stretches that lead out to a 4-score lead. We talked about game management earlier on, Joe. That's perfect game management there from the Eagles. Michael Knowles knew that whatever happened, the Eagles were likely to get the ball back. But it goes over, no ball on the field. And the Eagles now with a 4-score lead.
Has a massive impact on the scoreboard, Ben, but also keeps that momentum going in the Eagles' favour. Sees them get the ball back from this kick-off, and they can just keep the pressure on Featherstone, keep controlling this game. Featherstone at the moment have no way of regaining control of this. They're not looking to get into the ascendancy. The short kickoffs come off again for them though. They've come away with the ball and they're going to be starting in the Eagles 40.
So Featherstone Rovers then 33 metres out, I suppose. Ellis finds Baldwinson into the Rovers 20, into the Eagles 20 to go. Briggs, Thackeray finds Davis. That's a good tackle by Knowles though. Two former teammates colliding there. Ellis finds Thackeray again. Thackeray finds Briggs. Briggs with an inside pass to Talapapa. Rovers 10 metres out. 10 to the left of the uprights. That's a scoop from that's in half from Andy Ellis. He's a metre short. Here's the last. Rovers trying to kick through. What's the referee going to say here? It was a knock on by Knock on by Featherstone. So it is a turnover. It was on the last tackle, so the Eagles are going to play the ball tight to their own line.
Crucial here. Featherstone couldn't find their way over. They've got to keep Sheffield pinned here or force a mistake in defence.
And the key message, I suppose, that's got to go out now, Joanne, is no penalties.
Yeah, it certainly is. No penalties, and the defence is doing its trick at the moment for Featherstone. It's keeping Sheffield pinned down, but as you said, all too often we've been giving those penalties away and giving easy meters to Sheffield, haven't we, when they've been in this position?
So here are the Eagles then. That's a good drive in by Wielden. Bostock could have been penalised. It's Michael Knowles again with the kick. Over the top, it crucially turns round, Missy Talapapa. That's a fantastic kick. Talapapa with a good return there though. So Rovers then bringing the ball out from their own third of the field. Just taking one-man drives at the minute a lot, Featherstone Rovers. It's Andy Ellis attacking half-back. He moves it into Andy Bostock. Bostock offloads to Spears. Spears almost gets away from one but can't get away from the second. Rovers are back in the Sheffield half. Lilly is going to dink one over the top to Chase. He's got the ball back as Lilly offloads, but Rovers just... The story of the afternoon, Rovers cannot pick up that ball. The chance was there, the chip over the top from Lilly was perfectly executed. It was him, it was Jordan Lilly and Talapapa who chased it down. But Jordan Lilly just couldn't pick it up, and unfortunately, Joe, that's the way the afternoon's gone for Rovers, isn't it?
Definitely. However, for a lot of this game, you feel Featherstone have been devoid of ideas at times. There, at least we saw a bit of ingenuity from Jordan Lilly. He'd spotted that the fullback was dropped, so there was that space in behind the defence. He was able to exploit him and Talapapa, partners there in the chase. Impossible to deal with for Sheffield, and unfortunately Cording couldn't take the pass. But at least we're creating chances now, and that's a more positive sign for the Rovers going forward.
I'm just wondering there as well, as Jordan Lilly recollected that on there's the penalty to Sheffield as they're playing it on the 10-metre line. And that's what I was talking about before, where we're giving Sheffield easy meters by indiscipline at the ruck, and so that's a relieving penalty for Sheffield when we're looking to get something from this game. But yeah, I was just wondering if it actually was back to one initially, because I thought it had come off a Sheffield play before it went back to Jordan Lilly, and maybe it might have been better hanging on to it, but I suppose he saw Cording there and went for that pass. So Sheffield just taking it up to the halfway line there and over the halfway line as the Rovers players are dropping off.
Great drive from Tyson, and here's Scott Wielden now. Sheffield on the Rovers 40. Another slow play the ball, Rovers slow to release there. Carlisle finds Tyson again. Second drive in 3 for George Tyson. Carlisle finds Wielden again. He's lost that ball. Picked up by Griffin. Here's the free play. So Rovers on that free play. Tackled on the 40-metre line. Lilly. Rovers driving that ball upfield, just short of halfway. Bostock, Briggs, Davies inside pass to Talapapa. Well read though by Menzies and Michael Knowles. Here's Davies again, he takes the ball in this time. But John Davies has lost the ball and is injured. John Davies is taking an injury. So Rovers have already lost Michael Channing, although he is okay, from what we've been told, and will be okay to play next week. But John Davies down is up okay. Hoping to be back next week is Michael Channing. But John Davies there losing the ball. And again, it's just a story of what if almost, isn't it, for Rovers this evening?
I mean, it's... I think as a Featherstone Rovers fan, it's bitterly disappointing is this result, isn't it? You know, Sheffield, I mean, sometimes we say, though, in the face of adversity, we were saying that about Whitehaven last week, teams pull together. Sheffield have been going through some troubles off the field that have been well documented, and Mitch Stringer leaving them. And it appears as though they've got their acts together tonight. And I was just sort of saying, how have this team lost the last 9 games? Because, or the last 9 out of the last 10 games, because it just appears that they're better than their form would suggest, certainly on this performance tonight. Now, whether that is that they are playing well or whether Featherstone have allowed them to play like this, it remains to be seen. We'd have to have a look back at the game and scrutinise it, wouldn't we?
So the Eagles then, over on that far side, the ball's worked in field. Here's Mark Mexico. 5 metres short of halfway, plays that ball. Knowles out to Menzies. Tackled on this occasion. In goes Keele Carlisle. And here goes George Tyson on the charge. Spins almost spins out to the tackle. Andy Bostock telling him to get up as well as the referee there. Knowles with a great kick through. Tyler Papa picks up. And here come the Rovers again. That's a good drive in. Long pass to Briggs. Briggs brings it out wide to Lilly. Here are Rovers then. Jordan Baldwinson goes without the ball. It's dropped on by the Eagles, who now have a player injured. It's Mark Mexico. He's had an eventful evening, shall we say, as Mark Mexico this evening. Mark Mexico is okay, he's back up on his feet. Referee says hang on 1 minute, I'm not back 10 yards. Here goes Dwayne Straffer. Carlisle from that's in half back finds QLT, works that ball out wide, but that's better defence from Rovers over on that far side. Here goes Gary Lowe, scorer of an 80-metre spectacular try in the first half. An untidy play of the ball. There's a penalty and Rovers are on a team warning now. So if Rovers concede another penalty, they will see out this game with 12 men. And whilst we've got a break in play, I'll come to you, Joseph. Rovers TV man of the match this evening?
Well, it's been a difficult one tonight, Ben. There's been a couple of players that have had moments of promise, but no one with a real star performance. What we've lacked all game, though, has been enthusiasm, and there's been one man out there who's made a couple of errors, but has carried on running the ball in, heart and soul, been wholehearted in the tackle too, and that's been Missy Talapapa on his return to the team. So today, he's our man of the match.
Yeah, and he's done a sterling job filling in at full-back after Michael Channing got that injury in the first half. Oh, and we've got a Featherstone Rovers player in the bin. We were on a team warning. Andy Bostock is in the bin for, I think he was offside there, but the Featherstone Rovers were on a team warning. Sheffield attacking on the Featherstone Rovers try line. Andy Bostock just creeping up too quickly in that line. And Mr. Sweet has sent him to the bin. We were on a warning. And Sheffield go in for a try. I can't quite see who it is who scored it over there on that right-hand side. But that will certainly make it Sheffield Eagles 33, Featherstone Rovers 10.
You had to think then, didn't you, Joanne? And it is in the last minute of the half. So 2 tries at the last minute of either half up at that far end on the left-hand side. The Eagles over. Disappointing. It's been a disappointing day at the office for Rovers all evening, really, Joseph. A disappointing way to end for Rovers. Down to 12 men. A try on just to the right of the sticks, and it's just for Elliot Minchella. And it's just been one of those evenings, really, hasn't it?
Definitely. There's no doubt about it. This was a winnable game for Featherstone. They had the quality over Sheffield, but ultimately, if we were anything but our best tonight, they've turned out a performance. They were up for today's game, and they were going to seize their opportunity. Sure enough, they convert the try, they extend the lead further to top off what's been a great performance for the Eagles. You can't take anything away from them. If we're going to take this game down to a single moment, I think we talk about the fact that we weren't able to follow up that try from James Duckworth. If we'd done that, perhaps that could have been the turn of the tide in this game. Alas, it wasn't.
So the try is converted. We are now in the dying embers of this game. Rovers attempting another short kick-off. This time it goes the way of the Eagles, but they have lost the ball. So Rovers are going to get one last chance for some points, I think. $817 here this evening at the Hallam University Sports Ground in Sheffield. So the scrum is set. Lilly finds Talapapa, gets away from Michael Knowles, does Talapapa, but is well met by 3. And there's a penalty for Featherstone for a hand in the tackle. Rovers wanting to get on with it quickly. Quick tap from Andy Ellis, says no, hang on 1 minute, he can take that one again. So it's Darryl Griffin who'll drive it in instead of Jordan Baldwinson. Baldwinson lines up to take the next drive, but the ball goes left. Here's Lilly. Tries to dance his way through. Rovers 8 metres out, 15 in from touch. Ellis. Briggs. Takes on that line, Kyle Briggs. He offloads to Baldwinson. Baldwinson looks and drives that ball in himself. Ellis finds Ormondroyd, who's back on. Drives for the line, he's a metre short, is Ormondroyd. Quick play of the ball, Ellis! Tries to spin his way over, but great defence from the Eagles. Here's the last tackle right under the H's Rovers. Ball goes out to Jordan Lilly, who kicks for that corner. It's juggled by Gary Lowe, but he's able to take it. And I fancy that might be that. So the Eagles then bringing that ball up now. All they need is 5 drives and a kick, really. It's up your jumper time, as the old-fashioned saying. In the final minute here now. Here goes Menzieri. There goes the final hooter. So disappointment for Rovers down in Sheffield, South Yorkshire this evening. I'll come to you, Joanne, for the roundup.
Yeah, so that's final score 35 points to Sheffield and 10 to Featherstone Rovers. Sheffield players with their hands in the air are really pleased with that victory and relieved to have that victory. So Featherstone with the first try after that half-time break. So we got a try either side of half-time in this game, but they were our only scores of this game. James Duckworth in at that corner. Foster unsuccessful with the conversion attempt. Made it 20 points to 10. And that was following Dwayne Stracher going in the sin bin. The try to Menzieri then came soon afterwards as Corey Aston put a grubber through. Aston was unsuccessful with the conversion attempt. It was Sheffield 24, Featherstone Rovers 10. At that point, Featherstone still in the game. It wasn't slipped out of our grasp totally. However, then there was the when Talapapa spilt the ball and there was the free play. Ended up with Blackmore scoring in the corner. The former Featherstone Rovers player Ben Blackmore scored in the corner. And Aston couldn't kick that conversion. It was 28 points to 10. And Michael Knowles then came up with an immense drop goal from way out. Totally took everybody by surprise, but very clever play to put Sheffield more than 3 scores ahead. That was 29 points to 10. Andy Bostock late on in the game was sent to the sin bin for offside after Featherstone had received a team warning. And taking advantage of that extra man, Elliot Minchella scored for the Eagles. Aston converted, and that made the final score 35 points to 10. Attendance here 817 here at Sheffield Eagles. Bitterly disappointed are the Featherstone Rovers players out there. You can tell with the body language. Featherstone Rovers fans also. They've left the ground very quickly, and it's not been a great night at the office, really, has it?
It's not been a great night at the office at all. The first win in 7 for the Eagles, and the big question now, of course, Rovers will now look to the other results this weekend. But the big question is now for you, Joe, what does this do to Rovers' top 4 chances?
Well, if you looked at the fixtures remaining for all the teams involved, going into this week's round of fixtures, you'd have said that the Rovers could afford to lose a maximum of 2 games, but most likely 1 game from their remaining fixtures. Well, this is 1 down, Ben, so it's set out one hell of a gauntlet for that side. Are they up to it? Based on the earlier season form, you'd say they're capable of anything. Based on the performance they showed out on the park today, can they take on the likes of Batley, Bradford, Halifax? I don't know. The challenge is there. It's exciting times, though. You've got to say that.
And what do you think, Joanne?
Well, it's put a huge dent, hasn't it, into our top 4 aspirations as this. I mean, it was always going to be a challenge for Featherstone Rovers, as it is for all the teams around us. I mean, I can guess that Halifax and Batley and Bradford fans will all be cheering at this result tonight, as we would do if one of our competitors had gone down. So yeah, it's a huge dent in our aspirations. It just puts more pressure on us that we've got to win every game after this to have any realistic chance. But yeah, it's just really disappointing, isn't it?
Looking ahead now, Rovers' next match. They came back to the last match they played on the back of defeat was against Whitehaven. They managed to get a victory, although it wasn't the best of displays. They've got another defeat now. They've got another Cumbrian side Workington next week. Just in putting it in context now, after defeat today and the last away defeat as well, next week is crucial, Joe.
Next week's massive. 100%. If Featherstone Rovers lose next week, top 4 chances are gone.
And yeah, it's against the basement club, isn't it, Workington Town, and they're fighting for survival. So they won't be any pushovers next week. You know, they've got Jared Sammett, quite a tricky, creative player. Got a big forward pack there with. They've also got former rover Ryan Verlinden, haven't they, in there? So the big guy, and you know, so. You know, they're no pushovers, even though there might be the basement team. There's no easy teams in this championship.
Not at all. What it is, full time here now at the Sheffield Hallam University Stadium. Disappointment for Rovers. It's finished. Sheffield Eagles 35, Featherstone Rovers 10.